Hi there, I'm Tiffany Ricks at HacWare. HacWare is an AI-based security training platform that helps lean IT teams and developers build hyper-custom training in minutes. I'm super excited to have you on for our secure code session. This is a session that we provide free for developers, software engineers, web developers to understand how to infuse cybersecurity best practices into application development. And oftentimes we're not taught in, academic settings how to secure our code. It's often something we learn on the job or we learn through being put through a negative scenario. So I'm super excited to share how you as an engineer can protect your code from cyber criminals. And so for this session today, I am going to share how do you, as a software engineer, build resilient code against a denial of service attack, a distributed denial of service attack. And this is important for us engineers to know because we don't want to often rely on the network engineers to block a DDoS attack. We need to know as engineers how to do that. And so that's what I'm going to share today. I'm going to share what is a denial of service attack. I'm going to share the types, and I'm also going to share why is it important as an engineer. I'm going to give a personal story of something I went through as an engineer, and how I want to help you as engineers not go through that same traumatic experience I went through. And then I'm going to show you how in Node.js, how you can use a package that focuses on rate limiting. And then that'll be the end. We'll wrap it up. So let's jump right in. I want to share that if you go to HacWare.com, we have resources, all of our blogs. We provide a how-to tutorial to show you how to do what we're talking about today. And you'll see on the resources.hackware.com, I have Wu Chen in the comments. She's going to provide a link to this blog on how to prevent DDoS attacks as a software developer, but it's going to go through how to do what we're talking about today. And so what is a DDoS attack? First, I'm going to start with denial of service, DOS. And basically what that is when a threat actor, a cyber criminal, is trying to deny service to, it could be a web service, and they are sending tons and tons of traffic to that domain to overload it so that it will shut down that web application. The web application could crash, or it could be that they found a way to overload a resource in that application where now they're able to get into the application or take it over. And so that is what's called a denial of service attack. And it's really common now more than ever. Now, when we talk about distributed denial of service attacks, that's just a form of having the cyber criminal using multiple avenues to deny service into a network, into a resource. And so they're using multiple methods. And I want to show you here on the screen how denial of service attacks, they can attack the 7 layers of a architecture. And what I'm showing you here is the OSI model. And what I want you to be aware of is the DDoS attacks are typically at the network layer, so layer 3. Oftentimes they're at layer 4 and layer 7. And what we're going to cover today is layer 7, the application layer. The thing I want to mention about, okay, why is it important as an engineer for us to understand how to build an application that can be resilient against a DDoS attack or DOS attack? It's important because your network engineer, if you're at an organization that has an IT team or a network engineering team, they most likely may not be able to stop it. And so what a network engineer will do is they'll look at, if there's a denial of service attack going on, they'll look at all of the IPs, try to determine where that traffic is coming from, and then block that traffic so the application can stay online. Well, if you don't have that type of help, as an engineer, there's still things you need to do in case IT doesn't have the resources to block that attack. And the worst thing you want to happen is when this DDoS attack happens, they're able to overload the system, take it down, or retrieve information out. And so I'll tell you about what happened to me. I used to work as a software engineer for one of the largest defense contractors in the United States of America. They're now L3 Harris, and they are a global organization where they only work with the United States Department of Defense. And the Department of Defense is one of the most targeted industries for DDoS attacks. And I remember my first experience with a DDoS attack was there was a web application, a global application that the Air Force would log in. They would get information on the aircraft and all of the surveillance information. And I remember one day I was on that application and I was just checking it, looking at my development, making sure that the code was working the way it was supposed to. And the site went down. And then I looked at the logs and I was wondering what was going on. I just saw so much log activity, and the site just wouldn't stay up. And we had multiple servers managing hundreds of thousands of users, and there was just so much traffic coming in, and I just didn't know what to do. I was like, that was like one of my worst nightmares. I didn't know what to do. So I called IT and I was asking them, do you all see this traffic coming in? What can we do about this? Because the site's not staying up. We have hundreds of thousands of users who need to get onto this platform. And then IT tried to find where the traffic was coming from. They couldn't. It seemed like it took hours to try to stop this denial of service from happening. And as I stated before, this information was information that the government, the military uses. And so I was panicking, and then we were on the phone with IT and security, and the only thing we could come up with was, let's just cut the server off. So we just decided, let's cut the server off, and maybe that will help IT try to pinpoint where the problem was happening. And they eventually figured it out, but that made me think, well, what if this happens again? What can I do as a developer to try to stop this from happening, or to try to keep the application up longer? And so you don't want to be in that scenario. That was over 11 years ago. And so I'm hoping that you all are aware of some of the tools that I'm going to talk to you about today. But if you're not, that's great. You're in the right place. And so one of the tools that I'm going to talk to you about to help you with a denial of service attack and making sure that your application is resilient is rate limiting. And I'm going to show you in our blog just an example of, I'm sure developers are doing this development every single day, where you are, this is a node example. So you are building an application that could be a web-facing application. So you're taking in requests from the web, a client, the client side, a web application, a website, and then you're in this middle layer where you're taking that information. You may be manipulating it in some way. You're going to insert it into the database, or you may make a third party API request to do something else. And so I'm showing you here in this example using the HacWare Security Awareness API of how not to, in the middle layer, make a request to the third party. You should always think about, when you're building your code, worst case scenario. And before I jump into that, I want Woo-Chin to provide a link to our Security Awareness API. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But I just want to show that if you are a security engineer or a cybersecurity vendor and you need to build a security training solution that's phishing and understands risk, build with the HacWare API. So Woo-Chin's going to provide that in the comments. Now back to the code. So this is an example of what not to do. It's an express route, and we have where we are authenticating to this third-party API, and there's nothing in this code that is going to stop a denial of service or slow down a denial of service attack. And so what I want to show you is what you could do using the Node.js Express Rate Limit package. We're always trying to find super simple, seamless ways to help us as developer build resilient applications. And so this is one that I want to recommend. This is a package that you can include into your Node.js environment, and this would make rate limiting easier. And rate limiting is what the name says. So it limits the rate of requests that's coming into a certain resource over a specific time. This slows down the attack, and potentially it could stop your site from crashing. And so rate limiting is one of the best things that a developer could do to make their application more resilient against cyber criminals. All right, so in this, I want to show you how to use this package. Super simple, easy way to install using NPM. The cool thing about this is it makes rate limiting super simple and easy. You will utilize this rate limit function. Here, this is the window of when you will, the window of the rate. And so what I mean by that, here's a good example. They're showing, in 15 minutes, you're only going to allow 100 requests. So this is saying within this window, this is the max number of requests that I'm going to allow into this resource. And so I think 15 minutes, depending on the application, what's best. You want to make sure that from your user experience that it's not impacting your users in any way, but the goal is to slow down bad actors. So you got to try to figure out and play around with what is the best window and the max number of requests you're going to allow through. And another cool thing I want to show you is you can have multiple rate limiters based on the resource. You can have one for logins, which may be, a little bit stronger. And then you may have one for other endpoints. Let's see. I feel like I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, they can't see anything. Is that what they're saying? Okay. So you all didn't see any of this stuff that I was showing. Streamlabs. So just to give you a little bit of background, we moved from using streaming for Twitch. This is our first time doing it on YouTube, so bear with us. And there's a little bit of difference on how this product works between YouTube and Twitch. So I hope everyone can see the screen now. If you can see the screen now, give me a thumbs up so I can be aware. Let me see. Can you see? Can you see the screen? Because I don't want to move any further if no one can see. I'm hoping you can see it. So Wu-Chin or Giselle in the chat, the HacWare chat, let me know if you can see what I see. But I'm going to keep moving. This is going to be a super quick demonstration, and we'll go from there. Let's see. Yeah, you should be able to see what I see. All right. So you're going to use the express rate limiter to be able to handle the rates and managing the windows and blocking that. So I want to show you it in action. If you go to our blog, resources.hacware.com, you'll see what you should be doing. And we're importing that in the rate limit express. Okay. You can see that here. We're importing that in. The code is still the same. We add this rate limiter here. For the purposes of the demo that I'm going to show you, I've shortened the window and the max number of requests. But the cool thing is it's going to display this message that there's too many requests. You can define and put whatever type of message you want in there. But super simple, easy. You tell it to use the limiter, and then we are off to the races. So I am going to show you, I have a Node.js project running that is inside a Docker container. And let me see if I can show you this. And so I have this Node project running in a Docker container. You can see that it is connecting to the HacWare API. It's going to give me the total number of failed simulations for the phishing part of the HacWare product. I have this super simple page displayed here, and then when I hit submit, it is going to make a request to that endpoint. Now, if I try to act like a bad actor and overload this site and make another request, it is going to slow me down and put a rate. My rate limiter is going to kick in because I said I want to allow a maximum of 3 requests within a certain window. And then you see that message that I defined. There's too many requests. So this is a great way to slow that denial of service traffic down and keep your application up, resilient. So you're doing your part as a developer to fight cybercrime. Again, you can find out how to do this in your application if you go to resources.hacware.com. We have the sample code on GitLab. If you go to the blog, there's a link directly to this repository. You can download it, you can run it, play around with it so you can see how to utilize the the Node.js express rate limit. And that is all that we have today. So I hope that you enjoyed this session. There was a little bit of hiccups, so bear with me. We're new YouTubers, but I hope that you enjoy this session on how to prevent attacks as a software developer. And that is all that we have today. So if you want to learn more about our secure code sessions, you can watch and subscribe to our blog. So right at resources.hacware.com, you can subscribe. You can get all of our how-to tutorials emailed right through into your email box. And then the other thing is all of these streams, you can go and watch some of our previous streams. We've done streams on how to secure Docker containers and other ways to scan your code for security vulnerabilities. Check those out on our YouTube channel, and then connect with us on Twitter. You can go to HacWare1 and give us some feedback on this session, as well as what you would like to see on our next stream. Our next stream is actually going to be next month in September, and watch out on Twitter to see the update on when that will be released. And if you are a developer and you need to build a advanced cybersecurity training platform, go to our developer page, join our developer community at hacware.com/dev, and we will be happy to set you up in minutes. Okay, well, this is all that we have. Spread love. Have a great day. Bye.